brand new season of your home of wrestling radio with myself, the Big Mosh Blade, and the chairman of the board, Todd Vincent.
Hey, am I on with Mike?
You are.
You are on with Mike. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Mike Adamle, this is Colin Delaney. You may remember me from ECW, and I'm from Rochester, New York.
I remember Colin Delaney, the pound for pound, the toughest guy on the ECW circuit, man, and the guy who went out there time and time again, and he had great skill. You had Colin, you had great talent, and they just used you as the whipping boy, at least while I was there. And I thought your gig was great. It's good to hear your voice.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Yeah, I heard you were going to be on the show, so I finagled my way out as well.
That's great. I'm glad you did. You know, one of the things that's been sort of sad is that I haven't talked to a whole lot of people, if anybody, since we severed ties, and it's you were one of the first people who always came up to me if I asked you a question about certain things and wanted to develop their character. You were a pro's pro, Colin.
Oh, thanks a lot, Mike. I was always a really big fan of yours all the way back from American Gladiators when I was a kid. So, I mean, I was always thrilled to be working with you. And I think if you ask pretty much anybody in the WWE roster the whole time you were there, they would not have a bad word to say about you.
Well, that's refreshing because I miss each and every one of you. Save for one person who I'll never mention, but I think most people know who it is.
Hey, sure. I mean, we've all got the... What's that?
Yeah, Colin, I was just going to add, and give us a little bit of your analysis. Obviously, again, there's an expression we use around the Mayhem, in the trenches, so to speak. You were in the trenches, Mike, obviously. Mike and Taz did their thing, calling the action for ECW. You were mingling with fans both in the arenas. You talked to fans on a regular basis. Hostility that was unjustified towards Mike after he took over as the voice of...
Yeah, I mean, I always thought that you were kind of thrown into an awkward position, and everyone just immediately would, like in most things in wrestling, when you do well, they're so to praise you, but when you do wrong, they're immediate to jump on you and jump down your throat. And I always thought that your announcing skills were always top notch. I mean, some of the information, whether it was the information they gave you or just information that you had was a little off, but that's always things they can fix up. But as an announcer, I always thought you were great. I always thought you took a lot of unnecessary flack for a lot of things that might not have even necessarily been your fault.
Well, you know what? It's funny because last week when you guys were in Chicago, I don't know if ECW. What brand are you on now?
I was released before you were, my friend.
Yeah. But Kofi Kingston had gone by some school, to meet with the kids and everything, and he's just such a engaging personality and gregarious guy, and I always take great pleasure in one of the things was with that stupid knock joke. Who's there? Jamaica, who? Jamaica me crazy, and we call him the Jamaica sensation, and trying to make get him get the audience hooked on him. And, the combination with his smile and his incredible talent, I think that happened.
Absolutely.
Well, Colin, anything else that you wanted me to send out, that you want to send out to the Mayhem Nation?
No, I mean, I just really wanted to, I'm sure I'll be back on the show soon, but tonight I really just wanted to call in and say hey to Mike, and it's good to hear his voice and good to hear he's doing well.
Hey, Colin, thanks so much for calling, and tell everybody I kind of miss him, man. I miss him a lot.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. It's great to talk to you, and I will, I'm sure I'll hear from you soon, all right?
Absolutely. Colin Delaney once again joining us. Well, thank you, Colin. On the Monday Night Mayhem Radio Network, we're on board with Mike Adamle, former Raw General Manager and one of the former voices of World Wrestling Entertainment. Chairman, the good chairman, Todd Vincent, know that you had a follow-up to Mike.
Actually, yeah, kind of a two-parter. You've referenced about, giving input backstage, and I actually, two things I was curious. The first one was when you were with ECW, you said that like, for instance, talked to Mike Knox, who, ironically enough, I think should be Undertaker's WrestleMania match, but anyway, it's a whole other conversation.
Right.
And how much did you work with the talent backstage on stuff along lines of characterization, or anything to do with like writing or anything like that? Number one, and then number two, when it came to the Adamle originals, did you have any input into that, or is that simply just you playing a role and just delivering the information to the fans?
I had some input, and I would write them all kinds of things about what I thought. But they created, I would say they created 75% of them. There was one I wanted to do towards the end. That involved when Randy insulted my family and everything, about being a bad husband, a bad announcer, your kids don't even like you. I forget what, it went on and on and on, which I actually thought was a little harsh, to tell you the truth, even, in the realm and the genre of what was going on that particular night. And then, my daughter we adopted from Russia, she was going to come out and say, with a whole bunch of, big bad KGB guys, hey, Orton, you want some of this? And then the curtains would part, and the big Russian guy would come out. He's actually Ukrainian, but it turns out they're both heels, so that wouldn't have worked out. But you know what? I would say it was probably about 85-15. I was allowed input, and if they liked it, the writers were really, really talented guys, and they were under the gun all the time. I don't know if you want back to behind the scenes drama. Those guys are the guys who make the show tick, and they're on tremendous pressure to come up with new ideas. I personally would wish that they would come out smoking hot. You get that great opening and the Monday Night Raw theme music and fireworks going off, and then you've got a 4-minute diatribe from Chris Jericho, and it's kind of a bring down. I think you should start with a great undercard match and then pick up the soap opera scenario that was going on the following week. That's just my opinion.
Like you briefly mentioned earlier that when you would audition or first been brought into WWE, they were talking to you about your wrestling knowledge and what exactly you knew about wrestling. And then a moment ago you were just speaking about the writers, but from everything that we have heard here, it's pretty much I guess known that WWE, when they're looking for writers, they're looking for Hollywood people from Nickelodeon, from MTV, people that pretty much don't know anything about wrestling. And we've even heard as much as that if you do know about wrestling, that's considered a strike against you, and they might not even want to have anything to do with you.
Well, actually, I believe we're live right now. We have a Blade. We're sort of merging everything here together. I believe we actually have a call on the Mayhem line. So Blade, hold on to that question.
We'll hold
we
it.
have to start off by saying caller, your name and where you're calling from. You're on board live with Mike Adamle as part of the fall season premiere of Monday Night Mayhem.
Well, hey, Mike Adamle, we have a surprise for you. There's two of us. It's Dan Clark, better known as Nitro, and...
Guess who this is, Mike?
This sounds like a gladiator reunion on the Mayhem Airways, Chairman and Blade.
I'm actually speechless. That's why I didn't say anything to Danny. How are you, Nitro?
Hey, man. How are you? I'm doing quite well. Did you hear Ray? She's on the line, too.
Oh, is Howlett? As in Ray Howlett?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Ray.
Hey, baby, long time.
Well, I got to come out to L.A. and see you guys, so I'm a free man again.
Oh,
Well, if the fans are scratching their head, obviously we have an American Gladiators reunion right now. We're on board with Zap and Nitro from the Gladiators. This is a transition, if you will, to Mike's time hosting the hit television show for many years, American Gladiators. Mike, starting off with yourself, and of course we'll get both Zap and Nitro's thoughts as well. American Gladiators, 20 years later, and it's just as hot as ever, still kicking ass in syndication. How were you approached with the project? And sort of, we fast forward 20 years later. Are you surprised at the fervor, at the hotness of the fact that people still care about American Gladiators now as much as they did in the late 80s and early 90s?
I think Dan and